Hey man, what you got in the backyard?
I got some pigs, man.
You got
Go
pigs?
check them out, sure do, yeah.
Hey, while we're walking over there, what's your day job?
My day job, I'm a corrections officer.
Wow.
Yeah, yep.
So what's that like?
It's something different every day, for sure. It's fun, I enjoy
do
it.
you get to like do any advocacy there?
I don't do a whole lot, no. If my buddies bring it up at work, I'll talk to them about it. They know I'm vegan and stuff, so. Well, it's funny, a lot of inmates in prison, a lot of them actually do go vegan. They'll get put on a vegan diet and stuff like that. A lot of times it's more for religion and stuff like that, but yeah, I'll talk to them guys about it.
Oh, you mentioned earlier off camera something that you do, the deer.
Yeah, it's kind of how I got started arguing in the first place. It's kind of how I got good at it, so. As a vegan, I still go up to deer camp. I go up, drink beers. Obviously, I don't hunt, but yeah, I'll get drunk, and my uncles and family will start arguing with me, and so you know, I hear every excuse in the book, and that's kind of how I started like defending veganism, I guess, getting drunk with my uncles at deer camp.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they let you go every year still?
Oh yeah, I go, yeah. I stay until opening day, then I leave because I don't like seeing, you know, all the deer on the buck pole and stuff like that. But yeah, I still go up there, play cards.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So who are these rescues?
Yeah, they're rescues. Shadow and Star family is getting rid of them, so my wife picked them up, and they're good girls. Yeah, they're awesome. I love them. I got a little tarp for them for shade and a little kiddie pool so they can cool off in the summertime.
So what kind of pigs are these?
They're just mini pigs. So.
Is that as big as they're gonna get?
Yeah, that's as big as they'll get. I've had them for a couple of years now. They're mad because I haven't fed them yet today.
Oh.
You guys want your food, don't you? Yeah, they want their food.
Wow, that's so cool that you've rescued these guys.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And they've got a nice little, like a little house over there they live in?
Yup. This is all they had for a minute. I just kind of extended it made a shitty little fence for the time being, so. Yeah.
Well, good job, man. You got a little sanctuary started back here.
Yeah, basically I kind of want to do a little mini sanctuary at some point. It'll be later in life. But yeah, I love pigs. I'm a big pig. They're just so smart. They listen better than my dogs do for the most part. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you get in there and play with them?
Yeah, I'll let them out. I'll let them eat the grass and stuff, and they hang out. And like I said, as soon as I call them, they'll go right back in. So.
And they get along with your dogs?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they leave each other alone. You're not supposed to leave them unattended, so I don't do that. But if I let them out, I'll hang out, just watch them.
That is a trip.
Yep.
All right, so which one's which?
This is Shadow right here, and this is Star over here.
Okay, Shadow and Star.
Yep. I named her after I had a Honda Shadow motorcycle. That was my first bike, so that's what I named her after.
And what was the situation they were rescued from?
Just a family was getting rid of them. I don't know if they didn't want them no more or what, so my wife found it on Facebook somehow, and she went and she said, we'll take them in, so went and picked them up. And
do you think like they just got too big for the family to, because a lot of times that happens.
A lot of times that happens, yeah. Well, it's kind of, I've heard it's kind of a common thing with, well, really any animal, but especially mini pigs. People get them and not want to care for them anymore, I guess, so.
How long did they have them before you did?
I don't think they had them for too long. I'm not sure exactly, though.
Yeah. And so they're going to be here to live out the rest of their life, huh?
Absolutely, yep. I love them to death. They're awesome.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Look at them. What do you think they're thinking?
I don't know. They're probably wondering what's being pointed at them right now. What is that?
And what do they like to eat? What do you feed them?
I get pig food from TSC, and other than that, I'll cut them up watermelons, and you know, if I eat sweet corn or something, I'll feed them the cobs, and they'll eat anything really.
Cool. Yeah. You don't have to worry about any predators out here?
No, I haven't had no issue with it, especially with Cruz. I think he's pretty good at keeping them away. So.
There he goes digging again.
Yeah. Cruz, what you doing, man? He likes his holes.
Is he a rescue?
Yeah, yep.
And does he eat plant-based?
Yeah, both my dogs do.
No way.
Yeah, yep.
And what's this one's name?
Bane, he's a rescue as well. We got him last year, actually.
What's up?
He ain't the brightest, but he's a good boy.
Oh no, he's coming after me.
Yeah.
Whoa, what's going on over here? He's burying his head.
He just does. He just does Cruz things.
He's like so good at it.
Yeah.
He's dug deep fast.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He must smell something down there.
He digs everywhere, I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's nice seeing your farm, man.
Appreciate it.
It's a good start.
Hopefully you'll come back years from now and it'll be even bigger, so.
Nice. All right, so who's this?
This is Willow. It's my cat. I had a friend who was getting rid of them. He was gonna drop them off at my buddy's barn because my buddy's a farmer, and he unfortunately he kills a lot of cats that get dropped off at his place. So I wasn't gonna let that happen. So I took them in, and I've been feeding them vegan since I've had them.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people get freaked out because they're like, oh, cats, obligate carnivores, but there's no nutrient in meat that we can't synthesize and fortify into vegan cat food. Like, there's nothing magical about meat. They need the nutrients from meat, which we can fortify into vegan cat food. So.
Wow, amazing.
Yep.
Thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah, for sure.
This is like the first plant-based cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can get that stuff online?
Yeah. Okay, Hunter Toby, went vegan 2017, and I went vegan for the animals. I don't know if you want the whole backstory or not, but yeah, I just started caring about animals. I thought it was pretty fucked up that we'd just mass slaughter them, force them in gas chambers, hang them upside down, slice their throats open, all for something so trivial like taste pleasure, so.
And how did you learn about that suddenly?
It was pretty random, so I didn't really know what veganism was or anything at the time. My sister had a friend that called herself vegan. She really wasn't. She like went plant-based a couple times a year for her acne or whatever. And I don't know, I just thought it was stupid, kind of pissed me off. Then one day I was scrolling through Facebook and I seen a post about this veganism shit or whatever, so I clicked on it. I'm like, see what this is all about, see these like stupid, vegans getting owned or whatever. And when I read the Facebook post, like it wasn't vegans getting owned, it was some guy in there just kind of factually responding to everybody, explaining like why we don't need to eat animals, like how it's messed up, like basically how we like torture them, slaughter them for trivial purposes, like eating them. And yeah, I was like, man, this guy's making a lot of good points. I looked into it and went vegan. It's a pretty boring story, but that's how it happened.
Prior to that, did you ever think there's no way I could go vegan?
It was nothing I like even thought about, to be honest with you. I didn't even really, I kind of knew what it was. I knew like you didn't eat animals. And yeah, actually I only went to college for 1 year, it was my freshman year. And I actually did, once I kind of started learning about it, I wrote a paper about it my freshman year about like why veganism is stupid.
So you did know about it?
Yeah, well, I did, and I was like I just learned about it, and then I was like, man, this stuff's like the dumbest thing I ever heard of. Why wouldn't you eat animals? You need animals. You need to eat meat for protein, for health reasons. Yeah, so I wrote a paper about why it was dumb, and then yeah, not too long later, maybe next year I went vegan. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And how did you come across it the first time, and like what made you think it was dumb?
Well, growing up, I was a big time hunter. Like my name's Hunter. My dad named me Hunter, and he always told me like, yeah, I mean, it sucks we got to kill animals, but this is like the most like humane, ethical way to do it, and it's kind of like a necessary evil. Basically, you need to eat meat if you want to be big and strong. You need it for protein, all these different nutritional reasons. So I just, me and my dad believed him and never knew otherwise, I guess.
Yeah. And then eventually you heard about it and heard about vegan and you thought it was dumb though. Why did you think it was dumb?
I don't think I didn't have like a good rational reason. It's just one of those things where you like, I don't know, it made me mad for some reason. And I can't explain why, but if I had to guess, probably deep down, maybe it made me feel guilty or something. Maybe it got me on the defensive because people are saying like, look, like what you're doing is immoral. Like you're paying for animals to be killed or killing animals yourself when you don't need to. So I think it's pretty easy to get defensive about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah. And it seems like you, of all people, would probably be the most defensive if you grew up hunting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, it was a huge part of my life. It was kind of my identity at one point. My entire family, they're like huge deer hunters. Going up north, it's called deer camp. I don't know if you know what deer camp is. Basically, a bunch of guys get together. We have a cabin up north, stay at the cabin for a week, and all we do is hunt. We do that once a year, starting opening day, stay up there for a week, and just basically hunt and drink beer all day. And that was something I looked forward to every year of my life. I love doing it. It was part of my identity. Hunting, when you're in like high school, like everyone tries to make it like look for a way, kind of, and that's just what I identified as, was like a hunter. My name's Hunter. My uncle, he's an artist, and he actually drew up like a modern family crest, and it has deer antlers on it, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, so I got it like tattooed on me. It was my second tattoo, I believe. That just goes to show how much of a part of my life it was at one point. Wow. And how old were you then when you got that tattoo?
I would have been 16 or 17, somewhere around there.
And how old were you when you first started hunting?
When I first started hunting, I probably would have been, I don't know exactly, but it would have been like 11 or 12, somewhere around there. Like I said, I mean, I was growing up in a hunting family. My entire family hunts. Like, that's like their main hobby. It's like what they love doing. It's what they always talk about. It's what they also look forward to going to deer camp every year. So yeah, absolutely. I was always around it.
Yeah. Do you maybe recall the first time or any time like early on as like, you know, a little kid, 4, 5, 6, whatever, experiencing it or having any feelings around it like super duper early on?
Super duper early on, no, I didn't really have any feelings about it. I knew my dad always, you know, went hunting with his buddies. He was always out hunting. He was almost never home because, like, during hunting season, pretty much never was home because he was always hunting. Yeah. So I always knew about it, but it wasn't much I thought about until I was getting closer to the age where he could bring me out on the youth hunt and stuff like that, is when I obviously started thinking about it.
What's a youth hunt?
It's pretty much when an adult takes out a youth and hunts with them. They get to hunt early before like opening day for all the adults. I was either 11 or 12 when I went on my first deer hunt. Yeah, somewhere around there.
They probably had like antlers all over the walls and stuff in the hunt.
Oh yeah, yep, mounts all over, yep.
Yeah, mounts all over.
Yep.
And do you remember thinking about that much at all, like as a kid?
Not really. It was just kind of so normal to me. It's not something you think about, you know what I mean? It'd be the same thing as like having a TV on the wall. Not something you think about, it's just there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Tell me about the first time you saw an animal maybe get hurt or killed.
First time. I mean, the first time that I can like specifically remember, you know, I mean, I'd see my dad bring deer home all the time. He'd process them himself sometimes and stuff. But as far as like actually seeing an animal get killed is probably the earliest I can remember is the first time I went hunting and shot my first deer.
And what was that like?
It was weird because as the deer was coming by, like, I didn't want to shoot it. Like, I felt, before I even shot it, like, I was like, I don't want to say feel guilty because I hadn't done it yet, but like, I was feeling bad in my head, you know what I mean? Like, man, I don't really want to kill this animal, but, you know, like, love the crap out of my dad. You know, I don't want to look like a pussy in front of my dad because, you know, that's just how it is when you're raised like that, you know, like men hunt, you know, it's a tough thing to do. Like you know, you don't want to be a sissy and not hunt. So like, I wasn't going to like disappoint my dad. So I remember kind of having this bad feeling, but I shot the deer more for my dad. Then after I shot it, it was kind of a weird emotion. I was kind of excited, but at the same time kind of felt bad. And especially it felt worse as I was like, we were walking up to the deer and it was like, it was still flopping around, fighting for its life. So then my dad's like, all right, now you gotta put it out of its misery. So I didn't want to do that. I was like freaking out. I wanted him to do it, but you know, he made me do it. And again, you don't want to look like a wussy in front of your dad. So, you know, shot it through the heart again, finished it off or whatever. And I remember that made me feel like really bad. Like, I remember just like looking at the deer in its eyes as it's like fighting for its life after I just shot it, you know, and just knowing that you did that as a young kid. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't. And then after I did it, you know, my dad's all pumped up, so I get a little excited, and after a while you kind of get numb to it. But
and then you just kept doing it year after year after year after year.
You know.
And then it got easier.
Yeah, it gets easier. You get numb to it, you know, you don't think about it as much. I think deep down sometimes there was like a little bit of guilt in the back of my head, but not much. I got to the point where, you know, I'd get excited. They call it buck fever when you start shaking, you get so excited and stuff like that. So I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. I did, but I think there was always something deep down where I kind of did feel bad deep down.
Year after year you're doing this, and it's your identity, and you trust your father, right?
Yep.
Eventually you get to college, and how old were you about in college when you came to this?
I was in college, would have been 2016, and I went vegan, I think end of 2017. It might have been early 2018, I get it mixed up, but I would have been 21.
Yeah, so that's cool that you figured it out. So kind of young, like a lot of times 20-year-olds aren't thinking that deep.
I wasn't thinking that deep. It was just total happenstance, to be honest with you.
Your parents now, like how do you relate with them now?
I have a great relationship with my family. I still love my dad to death, love my mom to death. My mom actually went vegan after long enough of me being vegan. She understood it and went vegan. My dad didn't. He still hunts and stuff, but I mean, I have a good relationship with him.
Do you guys ever have a chance to talk about this sort of stuff?
Oh yeah, we do. My dad, he's he's just stuck in his ways, you know what I mean? He's a good guy, other than the whole, you know, not being vegan part, obviously, but most people aren't. I don't know, he's open to stuff like, he does eat more plant-based now. He's open to stuff like cultured meat. He's talked to me about that, about how he's excited when that comes out. So he's more open to it than what he would have been if it wasn't for me going vegan, I guess.
Yeah. What about like Impossible Burger or anything like that?
He'll eat them. Yeah. Like, I mean, he prefers, you know, animal flesh, yeah, but it's not like he's like against that or something.
What about you? Like, do you like Impossible Burgers?
Oh yeah. I'm a junk food vegan for sure. I eat a bunch of processed things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're aware of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you think you'll ever transition into eating more whole plant foods for health reasons or anything?
No, probably not. I don't. To be honest, I've never been much of a health vegan. I'm really only vegan for the animals. It is a nice benefit that vegan diet's, you know, one of the healthiest diets. So that's obviously awesome. Yeah, I eat a lot of calories. I enjoy like lifting, jujitsu, things like that. So I just all I care about is protein and calories and whatever.
Is your wife vegan?
Yeah, she's vegan. Yep.
And did you convince her, or did she do that before you?
She wasn't. She had never heard of the word vegan when I met her. She didn't know what it was. And yeah, so we started talking and stuff. And then shortly after, I'd like catch her watching Earthling ad videos and stuff. And shortly after, she went vegan. So.
What do you mean you caught her watching that?
Like I'd like walk out and she'd be in the living room on her phone, and I know Earthling Ed, I know his voice, so I'd like hear him. I'm like, that's an Earthling Ed like talk she's listening to, and I wouldn't say much about it. Yeah, she just.
What made her watch that? Just knowing that you're vegan?
Probably, yeah. Like I said, she didn't know what vegan was. She'd never heard the word, nothing. Like, we're in a pretty rural area, especially she's more so than me even. Yeah, once she kind of found out about it, she's like, yeah, like. This is like fucked up what we're doing to animals. Why am I supporting this? And she went vegan shortly after meeting me, so that was really cool.
Totally ethical vegan. Would you do this if it was worse for your health?
I would, yep. I would. Absolutely.
So even if it would kill you, you would just be vegan?
If I would die like next year, I wouldn't be. I'd try to eat them in the most ethical way I could, like maybe like oysters or scallops or something like that, or dumpster dive, roadkill, who knows. I'd try to eat the most ethical way I could, but yeah, it would depend. Like if it took like 10 years off my life, yeah, I'd still be vegan for sure. If I die like next year, probably not. So there's some threshold, I'm sure.
Do you find it awkward to advocate just as an ethical vegan?
Yeah, so it's interesting you bring that up. So when I first went vegan, I felt lied to. Like, just knowing that I could be healthy without animal products, like, I just felt lied to. I felt betrayed, all this stuff. So I was like, obviously, when other people find this out, like, they're gonna go vegan too. Like, they're gonna be open to the message. So I was super vocal about it to friends, family, on Facebook and everything. And I lost a lot of friends that way, actually. So it didn't go the way I thought. But now I do advocate for veganism a lot on social media. But I try to make a distinction between social media and activism and times that I set for like in-person activism and my like personal life. So like at work and with friends and family, like I won't really bring it up unless they do, type thing.
And do you ever try to not use the word vegan?
You know, I've been thinking about that a lot more lately, just because I feel like it does have kind of a negative attachment to it. But no, I use it. You know, I'm a proud vegan. I mean,
anything could have that potential. Even plant-based could have that potential.
Yep, exactly.
But it does seem like some people appear a little less.
They immediately
shocked.
get defensive a lot of times. Yeah,
definitely. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think it's because they probably feel guilty deep down. I mean, you're telling them, like, you think something that they do multiple times a day, every day of their life, is this like big evil thing. So like, it makes sense that they would get defensive. I understand why they get defensive.
You and your wife having a kid?
Yeah, my wife's pregnant. She's 20 weeks pregnant right now. We're having a boy. Just found that out the other week, so cool. Super excited about that.
You have any concerns about being vegan with that?
No, not at all. I'm gonna, feed my child, fortified food, make sure they're taking their multivitamins, and I'm not worried one bit. My kid will grow up to be healthier than most kids, for sure.
Yeah. And do you think maybe the processed food might be a little risky with that? I
don't think so. I think as long as it has all the nutrition they need, it should be fine. I think a lot of people get scared at the word processed. There's obviously a lot of processed food is terrible for you, but not all of it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, obviously I'm going to try to feed my child the healthiest I can.
Yeah, like I've been interviewing a lot of mothers and fathers who are raising their children vegan, and they introduce things like right away like tofu and avocado and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And do you like those kind of foods?
I learned to like tofu. I used to hate it. I couldn't stand it. But now that I know how to cook it, it's awesome.
Okay.
And I tell people, they're like, "What does tofu taste like?" And I tell them, it's like, I just had this conversation at work just yesterday with one of my work buddies actually. He's like, "What's tofu taste like?" I'm like, "Dude, it doesn't taste like anything, and that's why it's awesome." Like, because you can, if you cook it right, bread it up, make it nice and crispy, put it in whatever like sauce you want, and like it tastes however you want to make it taste. Right. So that's why I think it's good.
What about like other things like kale or romaine lettuce?
Oh, I can't stand lettuce. I'm not a big salad guy. I don't even know if I know what kale tastes like. I don't even know if I've ever had kale. I'm not a leafy greens guy by any means.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a superfood for sure. Like a lot of people will hide it in like a blended foods. Do you like smoothies and stuff?
Yeah. I think I have had smoothie mixes with kale in it and stuff, but you can't really taste the kale. It's just in with the fruit and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
And since it's so good for you,
yeah.
I'm hoping you'll.
I get it. A lot of people tell me that. A lot of people who comment on my Instagram and stuff say that all the time. Like, yeah, I probably should, but you know what? Drinking 24 beers a week and ain't healthy for you neither. So it is what it is. But
what about grains? Do you like any grains?
Oh yeah, I eat bread all the time. yeah. And like I said, anything but really like the leafy greens. I mean.
Okay, and other legumes like lentils.
Oh yeah, I love lentils. I'll just make lentils with just I'll throw some obviously vegan butter and salt and that's it. Maybe some hot sauce and super simple, high in protein. Yeah, I'm big. Super cheap too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm glad you like lentils.
Yeah. Yeah.
So legumes, some greens if they're in a smoothie maybe.
Yeah.
And then
beans.
grains.
I love my beans. I'll get the vegetarian beans all the time. Just eat them straight from the can.
What about oatmeal? No?
Oatmeal, I do like oatmeal. I probably should eat oatmeal more. I don't know why I don't. It's actually really good. Throw some fruit in there and whatnot.
Yeah.
Rice, I eat rice quite a bit.
Okay. So you eat your grains. So legumes, greens, fruits.
Fruits, I don't eat a ton of fruit. I mean, I got some bananas on the counter right now. I eat bananas here and there.
Yeah.
The little tangerines, love tangerines.
Veggies,
yeah. I love potatoes. Potatoes, but I'm a big potato guy. You can do anything with potatoes. I love potatoes, yeah.
So legumes, greens, fruits, veggies, mushrooms. You like mushrooms?
Oh, I love mushrooms.
Nice.
Oh, absolutely. I go around mushroom hunting when the seasons. Cool. Yep, all the time. Love mushrooms.
Yeah, that's so cool. We find them in our backyard every now and then too.
Yeah, what I just had for the first time was what are they called, lion's mane mushroom or whatever. You can, if you make them right, you can kind of make them like a steak and totally. They taste so good.
Yeah.
I loved that. Oh man, I got to get more of those from the farmer's market for sure.
Yeah, and nuts and seeds.
Yeah. I'll when I do like smoothies, I'll throw like seeds in my smoothies and stuff.
So you basically cover all the categories.
I'm definitely eat more processed foods than most vegans for sure.
Okay. Is your wife having a good pregnancy? Any issues there?
No issues. It's been really good so far. So.
And how does the doctor feel about it?
Hasn't said anything negative. I mean, she takes her prenatals and we make sure. She's eating a lot. She's probably eating more than me right now. So that's saying something.
It's my understanding you're into the debate circle.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of how I got my following on TikTok, is just hosting live debates about veganism.
So I guess you follow people like Vegan Gains, Nick the Nutrivore, Militant Vegans.
Oh like yeah, Nutrivore. I love Nick. He's awesome. Yeah. Ask Yourself, Dr. Avi, Vegan Gains. All those guys are kind of who I've learned a lot of my debate from.
What about Cosmic Skeptic? What do you think about him?
I mean, obviously, I think he's a scumbag. I think he's an absolute scumbag. I think he was a good advocate when he was vegan. I think he's full of shit for why he's not vegan.
Yeah. Now, do you think he wasn't vegan when he was vegan?
No, I believe him. I have no reason not to believe him.
So if somebody is vegan and they stop being vegan, you feel like?
Yeah. I think it's kind of like no true Scotsman fallacy when people say like, oh, they were never vegan. Like, there's some people who legitimately were vegan and believe in the message, and then they just decided to be a piece of shit one day, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how you could ever open your eyes to what's happening to animals and just go back to supporting the atrocity. It kind of disgusts me on a deeper level than it does with people who just living their life, don't really know better. Yeah. people who know about the evil and go back, it really...
I'm releasing a video today, a guy who was vegan 32 years. I asked him about why does he think some people fail? And he said he thinks they don't have that gut-wrenching conviction. Honestly, I think you have to have that to truly be vegan, personally. I don't know. I hope I'm not doing any damage when I'm saying I don't think somebody like that was truly vegan yet. A non-vegan person can go a day without eating meat and say, well, I was vegan for a day.
So I guess I would make a distinction. I think probably most people who quit probably weren't really vegan. They're probably, you know, the hippy-dippy spiritual type, or didn't really care, doing it for clout, or
just doing it for diet.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a diet.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, because you're not doing it for a diet.
I don't do it for a diet one bit, no. It's funny, I probably care about my health less than the average person. I am eating vegan, which, you know, just is a healthy diet. It's just, I just don't care. I'm purely for the ethics.
And I think, really, if you're purely for the ethics, that's what it's about. And I think somebody like Cosmic Skeptic, I think he was over-intellectualizing it. It was just a philosophical thing for him, which it is a philosophy, but that philosophy is supposed to give you that gut-wrenching conviction. It's supposed to create that epiphany, you know, galvanize you into that reality. And I've only watched a little bit of him. And the reason why I'm bringing him up now is because somebody I interviewed was inspired by him and went vegan because of him. It's the first person ever that I've interviewed that actually was inspired by him.
Yeah.
But most of the people I interview are longtime vegans way before he was even around. I just find it interesting that somebody brought this to my attention, and I'd heard about him a lot, and so she played me some of his video, and he was just kind of like, it was just a philosophy thing, you know, like, do you think I'm wrong feeling like he wasn't truly vegan yet?
I mean, it depends what you mean by wrong there. I disagree with you just because I think he did understand the ethics. I think he understood why you should be vegan. I think he still does.
Well, your dad understands it, right?
Right.
He's not vegan.
No, because he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't follow the diet.
Either is Cosmic Skeptic.
Right, and that's why he's not vegan now. But when he was, I mean, I would say he was. I think he believed in it. He understood why. He ate the diet. I think he's just a cowardly scumbag who caved to social pressure, to be honest with you. I think he liked going out with his friends, and I don't think he liked being the weird vegan who, you know, always ordered vegan food. And I think that's what it came down to. Because if you listen to his excuses, it's, I didn't look into it too much, but he never really gave like a real reason why. He kind of said, oh, IBS, but he didn't really explain how a vegan diet contributed to that over a non-vegan diet, because he still has IBS on a non-vegan diet. So it kind of sounded like it was more of a convenience thing.
Yeah, I just can't imagine acquiescing to the social pressure because I'm vegan. And I feel like because he wasn't,
Well, absolutely. Like I said, I just think he's a coward, and I think he caved to social pressure.
And you've lost friends.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so, to me, you're a vegan because you're going to endure that.
Right.
Well, I don't know, I don't want to harp on that too much, but it's just like, maybe it is a good way of like transitioning into excuses people have. Like, so I'm kind of curious, like, what are some of the fallacies that people have? And
well, I mean, I think the main fallacy people deploy is the appeal to nature fallacy, for sure. Like, just because something's natural, therefore it's good, which obviously the conclusion doesn't logically follow from the premises. Like, we have tons of natural things that are good. We have tons of natural things that are bad. I mean, you can eat arsenic right now. That's natural. It'll kill you. We have disease. That's natural. That's very bad.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be natural for us to eat arsenic because we don't naturally just go out there and do that. Maybe somebody's thinking, right?
True, and then, I mean, you can say that, but then there's just going to be other things that happen in nature that are just like obviously evil, like, you know, disease, people dying slowly of just terrible diseases. Even just little things like tornadoes, hurricanes that wipe out civilizations, make people lose their homes, a child drowning, like, sure, that's natural. Like, it doesn't mean it's good just because it's natural.
So what would be another one?
I mean, as far as fallacies, I'm not sure, but I mean, there's plenty of just like excuses people commonly deploy, you know, like nutrition's a big one, like, oh, I can't get the protein, I can't get the proper nutrition. I mean, people love the crop dust argument. They think that's sweet. Plants have feelings. They love that one. Plants have feelings. I think there's a lot of common excuses that people try to give.
Yeah, that crop dust one does pop up a lot. What's your response to that?
I mean, the common vegan response is just going to be something along the lines of like, you know, due to the laws of thermodynamics, animals are always going to require more calories like than what they put out. I mean, you can take a basic biology class and learn this. You know, you look at basic energy pyramid. Every step up a trophic level, 90% of energy is lost. So it's always going to require more crops to feed the animals than what we get out of them. And that's a fine response. For me, I don't see crop dust as like an issue on my normative theory at all, because I don't see them as a rights violation. So I think farmers should have the right to protect their crops and harvest their crops. And we can imagine a world where they don't have that right. And now we just have a world where we're all starving to death and civilization probably collapses without being able to grow crops. Where I see farming animals, hanging them upside down, forcibly impregnating them against their will, exploiting their sexual reproductive system, forcing them into gas chambers, slicing their throats open for the sole purpose of a trivial taste pleasure like food. Like, that's so obvious to me that's a rights violation. I mean, we would, if we put it in any other context, if we were farming animals to force them into gas chambers because we like the way they scream, like we like the way they sound when they scream, that would so clearly be evil. What's sound? That's just a sensory pleasure, in the same way taste is. And you know, the common response to that's gonna be, oh well, we eat animals for nutrition. Well, we don't need to. You know, we can look at, you know, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the largest group of nutrition experts on the entire planet, over 200,000 certified nutrition experts. They say a vegan diet's healthy at all stages of life. You have the Adventist Health Study too. You have the vegetarian cohort. We have plenty of peer-reviewed research that shows you can be healthy on a vegan diet. So the nutrition though, that's just a bullshit. That'd be similar to me saying like, I kick dogs, and somebody's like, well, why do you kick dogs? Oh, for exercise. Well, I could just get exercise from something that doesn't involve kicking dogs. In the same way, like, oh, I eat animals for nutrition. Okay, well, I could get nutrition from something that doesn't involve slicing an animal's throat open.
Yeah, wow, interesting analogies. I like that. That's good stuff. I can't wait to edit this. I'm gonna have to write some of that down. Sabrina Farb. She goes by Born Vegan because she's lifelong vegan.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And I liked how she frames a question that she asked people, like, do you think it's wrong to hurt animals needlessly? Just asking them this question, do you feel like it's wrong to hurt animals needlessly, is a great starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I preferred, so now anymore I just go straight to name the trait just because it's the easiest route to go for me. But before I started running Name the Trait and got more involved with the Ask Yourself, Dr. Avi community, I would, on my TikTok debates, I would just ask, I would say, are you against animal abuse? Everybody says they're against animal abuse. And say, okay, well, would you consider slicing an animal's throat open abuse? And of course it is, by the definition of abuse. And so then you just kind of go down from there.
It's so hard sometimes when I'm responding to these comments to even remember something as simple as, do you think it's wrong to hurt an animal needlessly? Or however you just said it. Yeah. It's like it just escapes my mind.
Yeah, it's just so easy. Yeah.
It's easy to react, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, when you ask somebody if they're against animal abuse and they say like, oh, well, I don't consider eating animals to be abuse. Well, then I'm just gonna have to ask you how you define abuse, because I can't imagine how you would define abuse that doesn't encapsulate slicing an animal's throat open, but does encapsulate kicking a dog. Because I mean, we can look at these two actions and just ask yourself, what would you rather have done to you? Would you rather be kicked, or would you rather have your throat sliced open? Yeah. I'd much rather be kicked. Clearly having your throat sliced open is much worse. That's a much worse form of abuse than kicking dogs, which most people are against.
This is gonna be good for me, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. So do you ever find yourself getting on maybe Facebook and seeing posts in your feed of hunters? Oh,
all the time. All my friends, all my family, yeah.
And do you ever try to say something there?
I used to. So I used to get into it with on Facebook with people all the time. But the thing with that is on Facebook, it's all my friends and family. So I lost a lot of friends that way. I used to be a pretty liked person in my town, in my area. Now they kind of just, see me as that crazy vegan dude or whatever. So I kind of learned as the longer time went on to make a distinction for my mental health really between personal family stuff and online activism with strangers I don't know, and in-person activism. So on Facebook, I won't really comment. I just kind of ignore it, and I use all my activism on things like TikTok, Instagram. I'll make accounts specifically for veganism other than versus like posting on my like personal Instagram or my personal Facebook.
It seems like last year was the biggest influx of hunters in my feed. All the previous years, I don't even remember seeing hunting posts. But last year was just like, every time I'd get on there, there would be like something about hunting on there.
Yeah,
Did you notice an increase on that?
Not really. My whole life, it's just always hunters on my thing, because like I said, that's my entire family.
So maybe it was just kind of always there because you were maybe in that community already.
Yeah.
I'm not even in that community, so I don't know why I'm seeing it. You know, it's just crazy.
Could be maybe the algorithm or something. You know what I mean? They know you spend more time like looking and be like, these motherfuckers, and like commenting. Could be something like that. Who knows?
How do we make those people aware, I guess is what I'm asking, or can we even do?
Oh, we absolutely can, and I think that's what I do when I post on my activism accounts. I'm still reaching hunters, just not hunters that I know in my personal life. And it's not that I don't talk about veganism in my personal life. I absolutely do. If people bring it up, I'll absolutely talk to them about it. I just don't bring it up first generally, just because ruining relationships with close family members and friends just isn't worth it for your mental health. And a lot of times you can reach people like that better by talking to them in a more,
like face to face.
Yeah, face to face in a more like understanding way versus like kind of how my online activism is.
Yeah.
Especially when they're friends with you, they're more likely to listen.
One time I said something to somebody online. When I saw them later in public, they went on this like kind of attack, like, oh, you said all this stuff on Facebook. I was no different to them in person than I was on Facebook. In person, they just totally interpreted me different. 80% of what we say is nonverbal. So they don't see any of that nonverbal communication. They're just making it up in their mind.
Absolutely. And when you're say like just typing back and forth on Facebook, there's not a face there. Yeah. All you're doing is responding to words you see on screen.
Yeah.
It's a lot different, absolutely. And it's funny because I've noticed like when I do my online activism, I'll get all sorts of trolls, all sorts of hate, all sorts of death threats. I mean, you name it, just the stupidest, most toxic things in the world. But when I do in-person activism, I've not once ever had somebody talk shit to me, not once ever somebody say negative to me. So it's a lot different.
It's too bad we can't overcome that somehow.
I don't know how you would. Online, I don't know how you would. It's just such a toxic environment.
And then there's all the misinformation too.
Yep.
What do you think about these carnivore, like the carnivore movement? What do you think about that?
I think they're awesome. No, I know. They're a bunch of clowns. I mean, what do you say? It's just such a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, these guys vegan, I do opposite. It's just such a caveman brain. Like these are some of the lowest IQ individuals in the entire planet. I can't stand them. I cannot stand them. It's an uphill battle too because people don't care about facts. They don't care about logic. They don't care about reason. What they want to hear is an excuse for their bad actions. They want their bad actions to be affirmed by somebody. So the carnivores have the easiest thing in the world. People love eating meat. They love eating eggs. They love eating these fat, salty foods. So it's great. All they have to say is some bullshit and people are like, oh yeah, this guy's awesome.
Yeah,
it's the easiest thing in the world. We're fighting an uphill battle. People don't want to be vegan. So we can spit as much facts and logic at somebody as you want, and it almost doesn't even matter. I don't have a lot of faith in people personally, just through all my interactions. I think people are pretty defensive, pretty emotional. I put a lot of hope on like new technologies like cultured meat. And I think that'll make it easier for people to see animals as what they are, sentient beings with preferences, desires, well-being, they experience suffering. Once more alternative options are out there for people to choose. That's my hope to end animal agriculture, I think. Yeah. Along, obviously, in conjunction with activism, like with what you're doing.
What you just said about not having a lot of faith in people because of how they act. One time somebody said to me that they feel like it's easier to deal with somebody who responds, even if they're saying the most ludicrous thing, than somebody who doesn't care. Like somebody who doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to reach them. They don't care. If they're not even going to listen in the first place.
Yeah, or even react or anything. They're just
absolutely. Like you said, at least somebody responding, like at least they're showing enough interest. Like there must be something deep down in there if they're spending the time to reply to you or.
Yeah. And so maybe these like trolls they're just crying.
Well, they're definitely just crying. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. What we're seeing is the minority. You know, it's the loud minority that are outspoken, just saying all these stupid things. But there are rational people that are listening that aren't saying things. Like when I was hardcore doing my TikTok debates every day, I mean, I'd seriously have hundreds of people tell me that they went vegan because of me.
Wow.
So, and those, you know, those aren't the people that are coming up and debating with me and screaming, plants have pain, they feel. These are the people that are listening in the background, being like, oh, you know what, this guy does have a good point. And then they go on to message me and say they went vegan or something. So that's something to always keep in mind too. I think probably fighting in comment sections with trolls that don't care and people aren't going to read it, it's probably a waste of time and energy that you could be putting somewhere else. So personally, I used to be a big comment section warrior. I'm not anymore. Now I just post my videos. If somebody wants to debate me, they'll debate me over voice. Otherwise, I'm not wasting my time texting them all day.
And so, like, you don't worry about them having free reign over your comment section?
So what I do is on my TikTok, I allow anybody to comment. It's just always been that way. On my Instagram, I have it set to followers only. So if you want to troll me, you want to say stupid stuff, you're going to follow me to say that stuff. So that's been nice. But yeah, I got a large enough following on TikTok where like a lot of times I'll have other vegans, you know, doing that work and stuff.
Now, as far as your mom, what do you think was the most influential way of getting her to consider this?
I have a very good mom. I think she loves me a lot. So I think anything I have to say, she really thinks about. And my mom is very smart, very rational. And I think she kind of saw, when I first went vegan, I went over to my grandma's and she, you know, had her, it was like briskets or some sort of meat or whatever. And I told everyone like, look, I don't eat meat anymore. My mom was like super like worried, like scared, like she thought I was gonna die, and she like talked to me because at the time I was kind of more into like bodybuilding and I would do all these diets to like have low fat and stuff, which I don't, look at me now, you wouldn't believe that, but at one point in my life I was pretty jacked. Just kind of after I talked to her about it and she realized that you can be healthy on a vegan diet and I wasn't just doing some fad thing, she realized like, yeah, it makes sense, why would we be doing this to animals when we don't have to? So
had any friends maybe do this?
No, no. A lot of my friends are open to it. A lot of my friends eat a lot more plant-based than they otherwise would have. And my best friend, actually, he was totally down for it. He's like, dude, I totally understand what you're saying. He's like, I'm gonna go vegan. And then, unfortunately, he never went vegan and he died. But yeah, just freak accident.
Oh, okay.
But
do you have any regrets?
My veganism? No, absolutely not.
Just in, yeah, and like some people might say not doing it sooner. Some people might say not being.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I wish I was vegan my whole life. Absolutely, for sure. I guess that'd be the only regret. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And some people are like, well, no, because it enabled me to understand what it's like to be a non-vegan. You know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
So many different answers, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you'd say that. You know, you understand where people are coming from, and like, yeah, like me as an ex-hunter, like maybe I can reach people who are like hunters, like, oh, look, this guy is like me or something like that. But I mean, no, I wish I would have stopped supporting the animal holocaust as soon as I could have.
You think you could ever be with somebody who's not vegan?
No, I couldn't do it. As far as like dating and stuff goes, I think dating non-vegans is totally fine. I was dating, my wife was a non-vegan when I started dating her, right? But I think if they don't go vegan and they're like showing no signs of like, they're just not interested, like I personally couldn't be with somebody like that. Yeah. I see it as a really good thing to like date somebody and turn them vegan, you know what I mean? So.
How often do you cheat?
What do you mean?
You know, a little dairy slip in.
Oh, no, never. No, I'd die before I did that.
It's because people in the comment section say, you know, oh, you guys cheat, you know.
It's hilarious. All the guys I train with at jiu-jitsu and stuff, they're always making jokes like, we know you eat meat, dude. Yeah. Them are meat sweats. Well, but I get accused of cheating all the time. Like, okay, whatever, dude.
Is there ever like an argument or something somebody said that made you think, well, damn, I don't know how to come back for that?
Let me think. No, not that I can think of. No, because before I started being vocal about being vegan, like I knew I'd get a lot of pushback, so I really looked into it. So I kind of familiarized myself with all the arguments and stuff. I don't think I've ever been tripped up, to be honest with you.
Yeah. How do you handle living in such a non-vegan world? Like, I'm sure it must get dark at times. Like.
Oh yeah, it absolutely does. Especially at first when like I said, like when I first went vegan, felt like I was being lied to, and I was like, and I just thought people would like hear what I had to say and be, oh yeah, that's a good point. And then once I found out it's not like that, and people start saying all these stupid excuses and like are just so dishonest with themselves, I was a very angry person for a while. It's just to the point where I'm used to it now.
And then I guess you've sought out some vegan friends that might help.
Yeah, so I didn't know any vegans. I didn't even know any vegetarians. So what I did, because I felt so like, I don't know the right word, like lonely, like almost crazy, like why is nobody vegan? So I just started searching out vegans. I found my buddy Brees, who was from a town not too far from me, through Facebook, and met up with him. So him and his friend Chase, I'll do activism with from time to time. They're on the other side of the state, like 3 hours away, but those are about the only two vegans I know in real life, besides obviously my mom and wife.
You know me, man.
I've met you now, yeah, absolutely. You now, which is awesome. Super, super happy about that.
You got a message to, like, what could we say to the hunters? What's a message we could give them?
I don't know if there's hunters are like, they're a harder demographic to reach for sure. They're a lot more stubborn. They're a lot more stuck in their ways. I don't know if I have anything that would like more specifically be targeted to hunters, other than, and I don't know if this would be good or not because it could make them more defensive. A lot of hunters, like I've almost noticed a lot of hunters love dogs even more than the average person. I don't know if it's because like, you know, they use dogs to help them hunt or whatever, but like try to make connections about like, you know, this deer, you know, feels pain just like your dog does. This deer experiences well-being just like your dog does, has preferences and desires just like your dog does. You wouldn't shoot your dog through the heart. You wouldn't go around hunting stray dogs. Like, why would you, you know, hunt deer? So.
Yeah, that's a really good message. You ever heard of Brenda Davis? She's like a registered dietitian out of Canada. She's like really famous in the health sphere. You mentioned the American Academy of
Nutrition and Dietetics.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's like a part of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She went vegan because a hunter told her, like she said something to a hunter one day in college, I think it was. She was like, I can't believe you go out hunting animals and kill them. And then they were like, well, at least the animal I'm eating lived a better life than the one you buy at the grocery store.
A lot of hunters are more aware of that. That kind of reminds me of a video I've watched. You might have seen it. It was a pretty viral video. It was these kids and their dad, and then it was like a hunter in his vehicle or whatever. I don't know, he must have had a dead deer on the back or something, I'm not sure, but they were basically giving him grief for hunting. Like, how could you shoot this innocent animal? Like, how could you do this, blah, blah, blah. And the hunter says to them, like, do you guys eat meat? And they're like, well, yeah. And so they're both basically arguing, and it's weird because they're both arguing, but they're both wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. And what do you think about the concept of, like, a lot of hunters say, oh, well, you got to cull them?
Yeah, for overpopulation. Yeah, I mean, for stuff like that, I just go straight to name the trait. Like, first, how are you defining overpopulation? There's no way you could define overpopulation such that humans aren't overpopulated. Humans are much more devastating to the environment than deer. Would you find it justified to go around hunting humans? And obviously everybody's going to say no to that. So then you just ask, okay, well, what's the morally relevant difference between humans and deer such that it's okay to go around, you know, just massacring deer, but not humans? And then you just go into the name the trait argument from there. I actually have quite a few clips on my TikTok of me debating hunters and like getting them all to either concede, get them caught in a contradiction, or just to bite an insane bullet.
Is there any other hunter-related argument that would be good to kind of cover real quick?
I think overpopulation is the main one. It's not only the main, it's almost the only one I hear from hunters is the overpopulation. So I think that'd probably be the strongest one. And even for people who don't like name the trait, I mean, you can just use dogs. Like, do you think it's okay to go around like hunting stray dogs? Like, dogs cause all sorts, there's way more dogs in America than there are deer. Dogs cause plenty of car accidents just like deer do. So you could always use that too. Is
there anything we didn't cover that you would think would be cool to get out there, or last minute encouraging words?
Look, you can be perfectly healthy on a vegan diet. You can get just as much protein as you'd ever need. You know, I used to power lift. I currently train jiu-jitsu. I do just fine at both. You can be as big and strong as you want. You can be as lean and healthy as you want. There's nothing you can't get on a vegan diet. So if we don't need to be eating animals, I just see no justification to be forcing these obviously sentient creatures into gas chambers, bolt gutting them through the heads, hanging them upside down, slicing their throats open, snapping their necks. And I just highly recommend somebody watch a documentary like Dominion or Earthlings.
And how can we find you online?
Yeah, just emptycages.vegan on Instagram, and then emptycages vegan activist on TikTok.
No YouTube channel yet?
I do have a YouTube channel. Actually, it's Empty Cages. I don't have as much subscribers on there, but I think I've posted a lot of my TikTok debates on there. And
cool.
Yeah, I don't post on my YouTube as much, but like I said, I got a lot of my debates on there. So.
Well, I appreciate your time, man.
Well, I appreciate it, for real.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you're doing is awesome. So. Appreciate it, dude. Appreciate it.